brought some things to share. So we'll kind of go through different time periods. And if you have input, if you have additional information, by all means, give it to us. So we're going to start with a little song. I hope this is loud enough for you all to hear it. I'm not singing it, but... Does somebody's phone? Can you hear it? Mm-hmm. Okay, you might not have been able to hear that, but that was the Statler Brothers. And so that was just kind of taking us back through some of the things that, that's kind of our, some of the things we're going to be going through too, some of our fashions of the past. I think Olivia has said she's coming. She's on her way. All right, so we're going to kind of start further back and work our way forward. And so I got a couple things that my aunt sent me. Can you come here? All right, and so our country was founded in 1776. We celebrated the bicentennial in 1976. And this was an outfit my aunt had made for her husband to represent, what our forefathers might have worn. So it's the long-tailed coat, the button, the knicker pants. He also had white socks to wear with it, as well as a vest. So just kind of it's not really from that time period, but it's made to represent that time period from when our country first began. And in Becky's bag, she had made an outfit for her son at the time. So just kind of giving us an idea of what little boys wore when our country first started. And again, these were made by my aunt for the bicentennial. Oh. Little knicker pants. How would boys like to wear those today? Or this shirt. You think they'd like to wear that? I'm not sure. But anyway, that just kind of gives you an idea of what they were wearing when our country was first beginning. Okay. That's all right. Just stay over there. All right, and that's going to move us. I think Gideon is here with us. Gideon, come on in, buddy. And show us what you got. This is going to be something y'all are going to all recognize.
Oh, just a pair of overalls.
Okay, and
it's railroad
overalls. And we do know that you can find all kinds of information about overalls. My understanding is they actually started in the 1700s and they were called slops. And they were for, of course, working men, probably maybe even pig farmers, you know. And they did not actually have the button or the gallus. They actually tied here at the top. And then in the 1830s, it sort of transitioned to more what the look we have today as far as button and galluses. And so we know that, you know, for 100 or 150 years, this has kind of been a traditional look of working men. And we still see overalls today. So, and these are called what?
Just denim overalls.
Okay, and the stripe we usually think of as railroad overalls. So they were made out of denim. That was a heavy fabric. They were durable. Didn't show a lot of dirt because of the coloring of them. But anyway, that's from the last 150 years. We've had at least overalls, bibbed overalls. Any thoughts on bibs? Comments?
I see a lot of the Price family still wearing them.
Yeah.
My brother wears them every day to work.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I love them.
Why don't you have them on, buddy?
So I have jeans on. I like jeans better than overalls.
And jeans have been around for 100 years too. You know, they also were working man's clothes. Durable miners wore them. Lots of durability.
I believe they started with Levi Strauss out at the
Yeah.
Gold Rush.
Mm-hmm.
He took tents and started making them.
The denims. Yeah. Here's Abby's in denims too. Come on over, Abby. Let's see your denims. Continues to be fashion today. So you never outgrow denims or overalls, I guess. So.
You want that?
I know. You just brought it to share with me. Olivia, do you have
I
your
was
Renaissance?
told to do this.
You're a good son. You do what you're
Yes.
told.
This is from the mid-1800s.
Well, the Renaissance, I had to look it up. Oh, no, this is this one, and I could actually, I tried it on over my clothes this morning, and it actually fit. I could.
It's from when?
So the rendezvous are pre-1840, and so it was. This was just I did rendezvous a lot whenever I was little, and so this would be there, and they would rendezvous back then. Everybody would meet for like the fur traders and stuff, and so it's a something. So this would be the nightgown part of it. And you wore it all the time, and so it goes on first. It was really it's dirty and stained now because it's old. And so this part you would keep on like you would sleep in it and everything too. And
Oh,
then
it
you
makes
would,
life easier. It
Yeah.
Just
and then
wore
you have
everything
this
else.
skirt that goes on over it.
What time period was that?
Pre-1840. Is what I
For
was-
traders.
for traders and stuff, and so this was what people would wear. So then you have your skirt, and I've gained a lot of weight, and I'm like, oh, most of this stuff's not gonna fit me anymore. But something I liked about these clothes is it's always made to where you adjust them, and so it's very big. I have to get the knot out of it. I had to restring the whole thing though, because the string was inside of it, and I'm like, oh no, how am I gonna do that? So I was knotting it to make sure the string didn't come out. I have a men's outfit too from this era. And so you tie it up, and then you'd have the skirt, and then the pocket, because they didn't have pockets. Now this, I don't have the string in it. I don't know if something got it. But you would tie it up, and then your pockets. So back then, if you were a single, they would like embroider them or do whatever. They make it all pretty. And so if you were single, you'd wear it on the outside of your skirt. But if you're married, you put it on the inside.
Oh.
And then I have a
Sign language.
bonnet. And so it was like to show off like your skills and stuff. So if you knew how to embroider.
Already got your man, you don't need to show that
Yeah. So if you're not single, then it would just go.
You're looking to keep adding more skills, I guess. What can I do? That's interesting.
My brother actually made this outfit years ago, though, and it's been all the little things.
I've been in trouble, I don't have much skills.
They all tie up because you didn't show your elbows or anything, so you would tie them up because you wouldn't show anything. And that's my rendezvous
Nice,
outfit.
thank you. So, speaking of 1800s, there's a dress over here on this mannequin. It says it was Granny Black's, for those of you that knew Granny Black. It said she had had the dress for 40 years, and I think she died, was it in 1987, Becky? So she's almost been gone about 40 years, so she would have had it almost 80 years herself.
Wow.
And it says it was 100 years old when she got it. So we're looking at a dress that would have also been from that probably 1840 era, you know. And of course this wouldn't have been a dress they would have wore every day. It would have been a dress-up dress, but you can see they've detailed on the shoulders and the buttons, and you know, even around the sleeves of it, we see lace, and around the neck of it. So it's a pretty fancy dress, and it looks like it's in really good condition to have came from that time period. So that might be something y'all want to take a closer look at later. All right. Moving on. We're going to a time when they lived on the prairie. And so I have a couple models for me that are going to come up, but you know, this was hardworking women. They had to do things in order to survive. You know, they cooked and they cleaned and they did quilting and they took care of kids and they did gardening, and they wore long dresses, of course long sleeves, and they wore bonnets, of course, to keep their faces covered. They didn't want tan skin. They wanted to appear pale and delicate. And so I've got a couple friends that are coming. I don't know how much they're liking this time period, but all right, come on, Daphne and Penelope. All right, so that, you know, these dresses are a little different in that they're shorter sleeved. We would have seen long sleeves and completely long dresses on the women, but they were dresses that they could move in, they could do all their chores, and what we really identify with that period is bonnets. And bonnets came in different colors and stuff. We usually think of solid clothes for this time period, maybe a more drab look, but whatever, they were wearing bonnets, and they would make these in different styles. Sometimes the brims were smaller or larger, but and they kept the back covered. Of course, their hair was usually in a bun. So if you turn around, I think Penelope just did turn around, but this was for all that hair they had. You know, they wadded it up and put it up there, so no matter how big your bun was, it could fit in the back of your hat. And so this kind of represents the end of the 1800s into the early 1900s. We see women working on the prairie, that kind of thing. Y'all are looking good. You should take up that, wearing that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
Those long skirts were good for gathering eggs and stuff out of the
Yeah, or
garden.
they always had aprons. We'll talk about aprons a little bit later on.
With
So-
a chair with the back on it.
They don't matter. Am I in your way, Susie?
Oh, you're fine. I can move.
If you get that bench out, you can sit on that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, all right, one of the things we have here from the museum is this, and it says it's S.E. Wells Walker. I'm not sure who that is, but it indicates this is from the 1900s or earlier. So it's, you know, you can look at the detailing on the lace and the buttons, and It's kind of a satin, but so it's 125 years old is what we're looking at there. So
I would wear that now. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
and trends do come and go. We see them cycle. This is a book from the museum also. Susie, do you know who donated this book by chance?
None off the top of my head.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is a fascinating book. If you like history or old things, you might want to spend some time looking at this. This is a scrapbook, and so it's newspaper articles. A lot of them don't have dates, but we're thinking the early 1900s, maybe up to 1920.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was 100 years old.
And so when you look in here, you'll see lots of different designs. I flagged a few. Here is some pantyhose. Can y'all see those? And can you see the price it's saying it's going for?
Oh, wow.
$250. It was hoses made out of Chantilly lace.
Oh.
And so that's an article about that. I just thought that was interesting that they would have that in there. A lot of these articles are about women and divorcing and how many times they've been married. And whoops, I'm losing some of the pages. It's very delicate. This is early 1900s. This was an article that I found interesting. I don't know if you can see the lady. Can you see her boots and her skirt and where her skirt falls?
Yeah.
Just probably below the knee a little ways, not quite mid-calf. Her husband divorced her because her skirt was too short.
Oh.
And so it was talking about men then getting out their tape measure and starting measuring how long their wives' skirts were. So just split it out. Where that goes, right there. Here was some shoes, like embroidered shoes. That was kind of an interesting one. And I have one more, and here I wanted to show you. Lots of information about divorce at the turn of the century. One woman divorced her husband because he was kinder to the dog than he was to her. Here's a swimming suit. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it is a swimming suit with pockets.
Right.
So we should bring those back, shouldn't we? I just thought it was an interesting one. All right, so this is early 1900s. Yes, and boots. Yes.
Was a lot of
Hey,
swimming.
Daphne, could you bring those boots off that table? I think they're button-up boots. Want to show us those? Just walk them around. So those would have been shoes that they wore from that time period. So I'll put this on the table later if somebody wants to look at it. Just, yeah, walk it around. They probably have seen them, but these are the lace-up boots.
Hurt your toes.
Yeah, pointed toes. Take you a long time to get it fastened. Okay. All right, and that's going to bring us into the 1920s. And generally, what do we think of when we think of the 1920s? Flapper dresses. All right, come on up, Claire. And the war was over. The first war was over. We seen women taking on a little more freedom in what they were wearing. Most women did not wear flapper dresses, so we actually have a couple more that you might want to look at this. And I think this is one. If I can get it. That Susie had and wore at one time. Okay, and what we also seen with the 20s was shorter hairstyles, bobbed haircuts. And so earrings were becoming a bigger thing because their earlobes were sticking out. But the traditional woman still wore work clothes. And that some people even thought it was rebellious girls that wore the flapper dresses. So they were living a different lifestyle, maybe nightlife. We did see makeup take a big increase. Lipstick, penciled on eyebrows, that kind of thing. They were trending as far as the 20s go. Thoughts and comments about the 20s? You all probably know more than I do about it. No? Lots of fringe. They had beading, so the fringe, swayed. What we saw in normal dresses for that time period was the waist went away and they did almost a box look here, and maybe had a low waist something on traditional wear as far as what other women were wearing. You know, they went away from the waistline. Okay. Talking about the 1920s, I don't know if you all get this paper or not. Do you all get the Current River Observer?
Yeah.
Okay, and a young lady did articles from the 1920s to 2020. She went through every decade, starting with the 1920s. I actually contacted her and asked her to come today, but she's on vacation. But she's kind of done a little research, and so she was telling us about the trends. But if you're interested in those articles, they are in this Current River Observer for every decade. Okay, that brings us to the 1930s, okay? And we have a couple things from the 1930s from the museum. Becky, you want to come hold this one? Okay, this was actually made by Pearl Dildine. She lived here, it says, in the 1930s, and she made this dress. I think it was for a celebration. It says bicentennial, and I think that was probably 59 for Carter County. And so I'm assuming she made it, but it does have a hole. It also has a hat, so, okay. What does that one say? I think it's from the 1930s as well. What is it?
It says it's a comforter made at Hunter by Maud Peaks, Miss Elva, in 1930s. Also gave the black suit and blouse made by Maud Peaks.
So it was handmade in the 1930s. It looks like something we could wear today if it's cleaned up, don't it? So that's another handmade one from that time period. Okay. My mom was born in 1939, and so these are her walking shoes. And she also had socks with them that's inside. And so these were her socks and shoes. And so they're kind of interesting in the way they turn down. I think this one might be wrong side out, but it kind of turns down, and it has an opening in the front of the sock, you know, where it turns down over the top edge of the shoe. So, any more information about those, Sarah? This is Sarah's inheritance. So, but those are from 1939. The other thing, I think Cindy's going to share with us something from 1930s.
Yeah, my dad was born in, I think, 31. My mother passed away in 2020, and I was going through her sewing box a year or so later. And this is in my granny's handwriting. This is Bally's first cap. That was my dad. Oh, this one. So it's his, and it's a very teeny tiny little shape, but I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know. It must have been handmade, but it's got these little rosettes on the side and has a little lace. If you want to take a look at it, it's not delicate enough that it's falling apart.
It's almost like a gauze. Isn't
Yes, it
Like
is.
a cheesecloth or something.
I'm not sure if they found this lace already or if someone embroidered it. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Like I said, I found it. It's my granny's handwriting faintly on the box.
Dresses on that too. Wow.
I think I have something from the 1930s.
Oh, you have something in the 1930s? Sure. Is it baby related or?
No.
Okay, get yours ready. My Aunt May was also born in 1939. Here's your note. And these are two of her dresses. And she wrote us a little note about it. One's red, one is yellow. Do you want to share with us? This yellow one has a little mishap. And she tells us what happened to the yellow dress.
May Carter Magnol's baby dress is at least 85 years old. The story is, on wash day, they were hanging on the line. We never had clothespins. The wind blew them off, and a hog got a hold of the yellow one. Hence the hole in it. My older brother Bert cut wood and sold it to buy the material to make the dresses.
Wow.
Those were hers from.
Great color.
I know, they've maintained good color, haven't they? Okay, and Mary has a few dresses that the museum had. We'll show you those real quick since we're doing baby stuff.
The little night shirts.
Mhm.
And a little snap back here, it looks like, to snap it. Sleeveless. Aw, little drag
hot
or
summer.
lace go around the neck and sleeves.
Oh, that one's pretty.
Oh, I know, nice, isn't it?
Is that a gauze or a linen-like material?
Yeah, this one?
Uh-huh.
You can pass it around, look at it, I don't
I
know
guess
how
they all
they've done
pretty
that
fast.
exactly.
We'll just pass that one around, let you look at it, and then Mary, my friend, not my sister, but my friend, has something from the 1930s.
So I helped empty my grandpa's house, and the only item of clothing that was not just contemporary was his nightgown. And I just thought it was so fun that was, I'm sure he didn't use it, you know, he's probably died in the 80s, he wasn't using it. And it's 100% cotton, and it's been Stanford-sized, whatever that means, and it is made exclusively for Montgomery Ward. So,
I wonder what it sold for at the time.
Yeah, don't you really wonder? Okay. 30s. Oh, one other thing from the 30s that you all might find interesting was this from the museum. It is a swimsuit, and it is made out of wool. So I don't know how it, you know.
How water friendly?
Well, no, they were water
Or
friendly.
itchy.
My first swimsuit as a toddler was wool. They believed it kept you warmer. That was the whole purpose.
Of wool.
Yes.
So, anyway, that's from it's the swimsuit from the 1930s. Okay. I think, does somebody have something from the 40s? You want to go next?
I can.
Okay. And then we'll talk a little more about the 40s and move on to the 50s.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. This is the only vintage piece I actually have. But it was my great-grandmother's. And she was a very tiny little lady. And if you look at the sleeves, I have to wonder if she really had short arms like I do, or if it had the fur cuffs at one time.
sometimes they wore free.
And it could have been that. I have actually worn this, and the sleeves are, I mean, they hit me right about there. But I was told, my mom gave it to me back in the early 2000s, and she thought that the body was Persian lamb and the color was mink. And they weren't wealthy people, but that was the times, that was the style. But I took it to a furrier because the lining was coming loose. And I found out that the body of the coat was synthetic, which I didn't know, but the color really is mink. And my great-grandmother, most of you don't know this, my mom's from New York. And her grandparents were among that early 1900s wave of new immigrants. And my great-grandmother actually immigrated from Sicily. So she came in, I think, around 1909, 1910, thereabouts. And they bought this in the 40s. So I'm gonna just pass it around and that you all take a look at it. It's heavy.
Yeah, keep you warm, huh?
Jan,
Yeah, I've
Don't
actually
forget those
worn
back
it a
there.
few times. I don't very often, but I have.
There's also a coat on the bed that has, you know, some type of fur collar.
That has
and
fur, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like a woolen coat from the time, so if you want to take a look at it as well. So
We have a coat in our
And
family.
it does have pockets too,
yeah,
I think. Yeah, there they are.
Sarah, we have a coat in our family that says Hudson Bay fur and all, and everybody said it's a seal coat. I looked it up today, and it's actually just made out of
fun to find
muskrat,
stuff in coat
and they had
pockets.
a way
Just
of
don't feel
making
the
it
fur.
look like it
It's
was
really nice.
seal fur.
What a treasure.
while that coat's going around, we have some others that the museum had from time periods. We're gonna try to kind of put them in order here. Sarah has one, the first one says it's from 1912, I think, Sarah, is that right? And this is a maternity dress.
It looks maternity.
And so you can see how the big ruffle hangs down here. So it just disguised what was going on, I guess. But it's from 1912, it says.
And I think it's amazing that now we don't
Disguise it.
disguise it.
We gotta go back to the ruffle, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even when I was having
Tell us
kids,
what
you
it
wanted
says,
a big.
Sarah.
Moo moos.
Now they just wear them tight.
This
Yeah,
one says,
tighter and tighter.
this dress was worn by Ellen Day Raymer, Mrs. Steve Raymer, before her death in 1916. She was the oldest daughter, when her oldest daughter, Thelma, was 9 years old. She was the mother of Denny, Thelma, Denver, Delphia, Wilmer, and Zelma Raymer. So 1916 era.
And then these are the 1920 era. So we have this and this one, as well as the one that Mary's holding. So these are, it's hard to believe, 100-year-old dresses, huh? Do you think our clothes will last 100 years?
No.
Polyester never goes away, does it? So anyway, so if you all want to take a closer look at those later.
This one seems extremely long. I'm wondering if she was really that tall.
Yeah.
It's interesting that there's no belt or anything.
That's what I need.
See if there's a pin in the right side.
Oh,
Okay.
yourself.
Yeah.
Should I take it out?
She just didn't want you to poke herself.
Okay. All right, so we have the coat from the 40s. We know that 40s brought in wartime, and there are uniforms over here as well. There's one we pulled out the other day that's made of wool, so if you want to take a look at uniforms from different time periods. What we also have from the 1940s is this dress.
You hold this one.
This is a parachute dress. So it was made 1945 to 1947, sometime in that time period. It was made by Edith Cates Carter, so some of you will recognize that name, and it was donated by her daughter. But they did purchase parachute material after the war. Our aunt actually made a quilt out of it. She dyed the material and made a quilt. It's a flower garden, I think, tiny little pieces. But anyway, 1940s made. Look how thin that would be.
You know, like they bought a whole bolt or something,
Yeah.
or a parachute, whatever it was, a whole,
After
and
the war.
they shared it or something, divided it up between the sisters or something, and they all got some to use.
And we have another dress that represents that time period. This one has snaps on the side to get it in. I was wondering how they got into it, but. So 1940s, wartime or after the war.
My
Oh,
aunt.
that's yours.
Yeah, my aunt
Okay.
made that for me when I was in high school.
I thought it was something I had hung back there. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And I have these beads. They were my mother's. They actually belonged to her sister. And her sister had a boyfriend during the wartime, and he gave her these beads or sent them to her. I'm not sure which, if she got them in the mail or I actually gave them to her. Later, I guess they broke it off. And so the beads became my mother's possessions, but these actually came to my aunt during the wartime. So it's an interesting look in that little beaded. Not sure where he would have got those, but all right. Let's see. Does anybody else have anything from the 1940s? All right, we're moving into the 50s. I guess that brings Sarah up here. And do you want to go first, Sarah?
Even though it's
Oh,
not
I
all
don't care.
50s.
Okay, sure.
Come on, both of you girls.
Sarah and her girls.
Yes, so my skirt is a poodle skirt. It's not authentic. I don't know where I got it, a thrift store or something, but I just thought it was appropriate for today. And I got my little cat eye glasses pins on there. And my collar is handmade. I don't think it's from that long ago, but I thought it went with the outfit. So just decided to dress up myself because I love that. And this is a dress of our mom's, Marie Carter, and she actually has it on in this picture.
Oh, wow.
And this was on one of the first dates that her and our dad went on. So it was the 4th of July celebration in 1957. They had a photograph booth, and so she got her picture made in this dress. And then I went ahead and brought her wedding hat. It's from 1958, and that's the hat that she wore when they got married. And so when I took my senior pictures, I wore this dress as well. And then this was the dress that I wanted to wear in some of my pictures, and this is the one that's in the yearbook for me. So turn that around the other way. And so I have my picture in Mom's dress, and then my picture in this dress from 1993 as well. So that's our story.
Well, thank you. Thanks, girls.
This is a dress donated by Pat Damewood. Do some of you know her? I guess, was she in the military?
Yes, and she passed last year. She
Okay.
used to run the museum kind of like
Okay.
I've been doing.
So this says it was a Hawaiian dress from 1953. So I don't know if she went there, maybe brought it back, but it's donated from that time period from Hawaii. I think I would like to wear that one. Let me have that one. Okay.
Looks comfortable.
Yeah. Of course, we have earrings and purses. You know, 50s, I think they did a lot of gloves. We've seen people getting married with gloves on, so there's a couple of those items over there. We also seen pants. You know, pants really, I think I read they actually started in the 1930s for women. Was the first introduction of pants for women. But in the 50s, we really saw the girls start wearing more and more pants. So, all right, I think that's going to bring us to the 60s. Who has things for the 60s? Tanya? All right, we'll let Becky go and then. Here's this. Some of these are similar 70s.
Okay, I think that these were Glenn's pants, I think, when he was little. That my mother-in-law gave them to me, his little pajama pants. He had a couple pair of them that he wore when he was little. And also a couple little sweaters that she kept for him that he wore. I guess he wore them, I don't know. But anyway, she gave them to me and said they were his when he was little. So those were my contribution on that part, I guess. Oh, wore this as a flower girl when I was 4 years old. And my aunt had a double wedding May and Goldie did. And that was in 1965, I think it was. And I was like 4 years old and I wore this for the flower girl dress. I don't know very many 4-year-olds that could wear a dress this small now, but I think it must have shrunk. But anyway, it was pretty small.
You go remake that?
Yes, I
Yes,
believe
and
so.
there's her Goldie's wedding dress is right there on
Oh,
that
okay.
mannequin.
Yeah.
She made both of those, and that was in
What she did.
September of 1965.
Yeah,
So
that's so I had that, yep. And I guess, well, we wore these in the 60s, I guess, or early 70s.
yes.
We all, Mom made us, all four of us, not Sarah because she wasn't around at the time, but she made us all one of these. We've got,
Here's mine.
we all had one like this. And she made this little purse. I'm not for sure if it actually went with this dress or a different one, but at some point she made us these little purses. And we had these little capes. We all had one of these little capes back that she made for us back in the day.
You can still wear it.
I could, but not sure it'd do much good. But anyway, yeah, we all had a little cape that she made. I don't know how she found the time to even get it done, but anyway, she did it. So we all of us had one. Anyway, that was my 60s collection. I'll let somebody else do their 60s.
I think Tanya's gonna come and share something with us for 60.
I think this is from the 60s. This is something my grandmother had left, and it was actually, she'd written a note on here to her dear children and grandchildren. It says, "Someday I'm going to leave this world and go to a better one where there will be no more sorrows nor death, heartaches, and pain. And I have kept these pretty underthings for my homegoing, if I don't outgrow them. At least the scarf should be okay. I think it will be nice to wear. It's too fragile for me here on this earth. With love to all from Mom." And the scarf that actually was in it, my cousins decided when my Aunt Virgie passed, they buried her wearing that scarf. I'm guessing these are from around the 60s, but these were her very pretty things that she didn't want, they were too fragile for her to wear. They're kind of stained up, and I thought this was pretty interesting, the little underwear that they had, and then she had her bra. So this was her things that she wanted to be buried in. And unfortunately, no one knew about it until after she was buried, and they found the box.
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting.
that's my contribution.
Thank you.
This was also May's. I think she's saying this is from the early 60s. This was my aunt's dress, so it was pretty, wasn't it?
Which one?
Aunt May. Mason. So. All right, I'm gonna ask my models to come back up. We also saw in the 60s a lot of what we called house dresses. People covered up their clothes with, dresses and or aprons. And aprons have taken every shape, every style, every form, fancy, but we saw lots of decorative stuff going on in the 60s with them, cross stitch, rick-rack. Obviously, there's still half aprons, but anyway, these are some that would have been worn around the house, and they came in different lengths and different styles. These obviously covered up the front of you, which is what I always need, the front of me covered up so I don't make a mess. But aprons have been a long-standing throughout history. It goes on forever. How many of you wear an apron? Are they full? Up to the neck. Keep you covered so we don't mess up our shirts. Those look good on you girls. I'll be expecting lunch. You can go home and cook me lunch. You can make dessert. And some people just wore something they put over their clothes, snapped or buttoned it up, did their house clean or whatever, and then took it off, and they were ready for the day. All right, thank you.
Thanks, girls.
All right, anything else from the 60s? I have stuff here, there, and everywhere. This is not really an old dress, it's a newer style, but I think Mary wore dresses like this in the 1960s. She was born in 65, and September of that year. But my mom had made her some dresses similar to this style where they crossed over in the back.
They had bloomers too, that she probably.
Well, Mary didn't need them.
I don't know what she did with bloomers. I remember that.
Yeah. So she did use this style of dress for her. So
Cute.
this is a newer one.
My
But
mom made me dresses like that.
Yeah. yeah. So, all right. Anything else from the 60s? All right. We're going to move on to the 70s. Can you put your hat on? Penelope, come here. A couple head things. And you all will know headscarves have been around forever. And we still sometimes see people wearing headscarves. Keep your hair nice and neat when you ride in the convertible, Penelope. And we've seen them around the head, of course, and then sometimes people wear them around the neck. The older I get, I'm figuring out why people wear scarves around the neck. I'm like, I need a scarf around my neck. You can put that one on. The floppy hat kind of became an icon of the 70s. If you all remember Farrah Fawcett, do you remember her? I think she got married in 1973, and she wore a floppy hat. And as a result of that, it kind of became well known as what people were doing in the 70s. Thank you, girls. All right, other things in the 70s. Late 60s, 70s, bell bottoms, halter tops. I don't have either one of those things. Do you have something?
I have something.
Okay.
It's, a lot of times, things recycle through, and this is a 70s dress, but it goes back to the kind of the prairie time or whatever, but.
Which one of your girls wore that? None of them? No?
It looks comfortable, don't
I don't even know where I got it.
It reminds me of all my dresses my grandma or my mom made me.
Yeah.
it? Do you still have some of those?
No, our house burned, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think Becky has some stuff from the 70s.
This says handmade for my special little girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we see the back? The buttons? Okay.
That's sweet.
I wore this whenever I was in, I don't remember if it was junior high, high school, but I served at some kind of a banquet. I was thinking it might have been whenever I was in 7th grade. They had an 8th grade graduation there at the school, and it seems like I wore it then, but it could have been in high school. But we served to the banquet at some time, and I wore this. Mom made it for me, which would have been in the 70s. I'm not exactly sure which time I wore that. And also, I wore this dress. Now, you girls won't believe this, how small this dress is either. Somebody cut it or tore it or something, but it was not, that's not supposed to be like that, but that's the hint. But anyway, I wore this, and I'm pretty sure I have my 9th grade picture with this dress on. Could have been in 8th grade, but I'm pretty sure it was whenever I was a freshman in high school, which would have been 75-ish, that I had this dress. My aunt gave it to me. She couldn't wear it, so she gave it to me, and I wore it. And then Rachel played with it. It was her play dress whenever she was growing up. But anyway, that was in the 70s of some kind.
Journey. Journey is wearing my mom's dress.
Aww.
Also, I know Bethany already did. Bethany's was from the 50s. This was from the early 70s. And my mom had went to town and got this for the alumni banquet. And so it was a big deal. I have a couple pictures. Can you step over there and pick up those? I don't know if you'll be able to see these. You can see those of Grandma. Yeah, you can pass them around. It's a picture of Grandma in that dress. We also did a program at our church, the Titanic, years ago, and I wore this dress for the Titanic program that we done. And I have a picture of me somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where. If you'll notice in the picture, if you can see it, she has her hair slicked back, and she had a hairpiece. You remember those wigs were kind of popular, but also a hairpiece that had kind of curls where you just set it on your head. And so that's how her hair was fixed for that 70s banquet. But she was dressed up and ready to go to the banquet. She didn't graduate from here, but my dad did. So anyway, it's hard to think Mom was that, you know, you think of Mom, was she really that little, you know? But
Especially
After-
after she had 8 children already at
Yeah,
that
she
time.
So she was not a very big girl after having 8 kids. It was Sarah and Daniel. No, I'm teasing. So anyway, but yeah, you remember Maxie's, they would call them in the early 70s, and everybody was wearing long dresses. Also in the 70s was a time of double knit. Thank you. Double knit. And we have a
Donna,
dress
would you-
here. I think this is the museum's. Is that correct, Susie? This one's
Yes.
the museum's. I'm gonna hold it. And I have several double knit ones over here that my Aunt Goldie made and wore.
She always dressed so.
Yeah, she always, you know, almost always had a belt, cinched waist. You know, she wanted to accentuate her tiny, tiny waist. But these were some that I have of hers that she made and would have worn.
That pin that you said, that pin that you took home, I think she wore it on that dress right there. Does that color?
Oh, maybe. Anyway, I have a whole tote full of dresses she made and wore. I don't know why, because I sure couldn't wear them. This seemed kind of flashy for her,
She probably didn't wear that much, I bet.
but she did love red.
She did love red.
She did love red. So anyway, but double knit was a big thing in the 70s. You could wear it forever. It never wore out. The only thing it did pull and snag, and you had little snags everywhere. So, all right. Anything else from the 70s? I'm trying to think. We had some other things from the museum, and these might have been a little bit older time period, maybe 60s, I'm not sure. This one's falling apart, but one of the things I did want to show was this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a Letterman, and I think it says it's from the early 1960s. So,
Whose was that?
it says it was donated by Inez Lund.
There's a note here, it's on it, too.
Yeah, what does it say?
Have the Van Buren.
Early 60s Letterman jacket from Inez Lund's sale, donated Betty Robertson Smith.
Oh, Betty bought it, I guess, from the Lund sale. So anyway, that hasn't changed much, has it? Some things stay the same. That's a good thing.
Do they still do that?
Yes. They do. Or some people do, I guess.
I think that cowboy western outfit, we decided came from the 40s because it has matching pants underneath and it's heavy
It is.
and it has shoulder pads, which was typical of 1940s.
No, I think it's about the same, but I think it's not.
So we're kind of bouncing back and forth on our time. I'm sorry. Can't keep it all in order, but.
Yeah. Well, I remember my mother-in-law making similar shirts like that for the guys in the 80s.
Yes, I remember that too.
With the smile, we call them smile
That
pockets.
stuff behind you right there. I think, yeah. We also
But
think,
not with the shoulder pads.
she thinks that might have been an earlier time period, 40s. The 70s, we think this might have been a formal dress from the 70s. And also, some of these dresses may have came from that time period as well. That really looks. It was a whole different world in the 70s, wasn't it? It brought about a lot of new things and changes.
It's tiny.
I know. They didn't have McDonald's like we have it today, did they? Couldn't get to McDonald's like we can.
Can we see the pink one?
Yes. You can see whatever you want.
Where you gonna be passing around?
It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to do.
They had zippers.
Yeah.
Good button holes.
I also think of crocheted stuff from the 70s, you know, like
Oh, my
purses and
grandma
bags.
made crochet
Shawls.
pullover,
Yeah,
pullover vests and.
Is it crochet?
things like that.
Yeah. So. Okay.
feels like it's linen or muslin.
Yeah.
Feed sacks or something like that.
And then, of course, the 80s brought, you know, bright colors, big earrings, big hair, leg warmers, athletic, aerobic wear. A lot of that was going on in the 80s. I actually have this dress on. It was my grandmother's. She passed in 1985, 40 years ago. And she probably wore it in the 70s and 80s. This is my Grandma Carter's. I thought she was a really big woman. I don't know what that says about me exactly, but I'm analyzing. You'll see right here, it actually doesn't have belt loops, but she put safety pins on the inside to keep her belt where she wanted it. So anyway, good idea when you need a belt holder is to improvise with safety pins. So. All right, other things from the 80s.
You want to pass me that purple one?
This purple?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Tell us, Susie.
Well, I'm trying to film at the same time. So it's just shoulder pads, fancier jacket.
That's pretty.
This is from the 80s. Susie found this here. It does have shoulder pads, which was a big thing in the 80s. You know, everybody looked like football players. So, yeah.
Actually, it was mine. That one was
This
mine.
one was yours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This was Susie's.
I've seen clothes lately that have shoulder
Okay,
pads.
coming back. Kind of trends and styles. So, all right. Anything else from the 80s? I never seen my grandma wear sandals, so she always had a lace-up shoe. Daphne, can you bring me those lace-up shoes in there? She either went barefooted or a flat tennis shoe, you know, just a cheap flat tennis shoe that laced up. Or she had this is not her shoes, these are actually my mother-in-law's shoes, but she had a shoe with a heel that laced up like if she was going out for an outing. So she would have wore a shoe similar to this when she was going out. These are probably from the 1950s, could be 1940s. These are my mother-in-law's. The tag inside the shoe says it's a Kitty Brooke shoe, and it was sold by Sears and Roebuck from the 1940s to the early 1960s. So these belong to my mother-in-law, Betty Scott. But a lot of women had a similar type shoe for going out. So they don't look very comfortable though.
You know, it's funny you said your grandma didn't wear sandals. I
I-
remember my grandma wearing sandals with pads. You know, she wore her little pads, the little sock things,
Yeah.
under her sandals, and you could always see them.
Sock, yeah. I remember Grandma going barefooted all summer. I mean, she'd walk to the garden, work the garden, go home. She was barefooted, and so, in my mind, she had large legs and large feet. But I don't know if that's true or not. But in my
I
mind,
do remember her being bigger.
do what?
It seems like she was bigger.
Almost barrel shaped. And so I put this on and think, well, that must mean I'm barrel shaped.
Are we talking about Ovi?
No, Ovi was her grandmother.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Samantha was my grandmother.
Okay, I didn't.
And
Yeah.
they were sister-in-laws. They married brothers. Okay. 80s. Anything else from the 80s? Oh, Cindy's got something. Come
So
on
my
up.
dress doesn't look like it's from the 80s. But
It's fancy.
my aunt made it for me. It was either 8th grade or 9th grade. I don't know what the event was. I had something at school. My aunt was a seamstress. My dad's only sister, his only living sibling. And she told my mother to send her the measurements. She lived near Charleston, South Carolina. She said, send me the measurements and I'll just make her something and surprise her. She was always doing things. And then she sewed a label in it because she didn't want the other girls to know that it was handmade. But it had a sash with it for the waist. And then she had really put a lot of detail into the lace on the sleeves. It just always made me think of my sweet aunt. She lived to be about 92. And anyway, she always spoiled me. Well, I think it's just a cotton, but it
Anything
looks
else from the
flower
80s?
sacks almost.
It is really in very good condition. You've kept it nice. All right, that's moving us to the 90s. We did see Brooklyn, who was already in Sarah's graduation dress picture. Any other? I think Olivia might have some things from the 90s. while she's doing that, I just, there are some purses, there's some makeup, like little lipsticks. You remember the little cases of lipsticks, hand mirrors, rouge, packets where you put your rouge on. I was reading in one of those articles that the girl did from Van Buren, and during the World War II, that, nylons weren't very prevalent, but there are some older nylons out here that you would have wore with a garter, but the article said, I didn't know this, you all probably do, but they would sometimes put makeup on their legs and then put the eyeliner down the back as a seam to make people think they had on hose when they really didn't. I don't know how cheap makeup was, but it takes a lot of makeup to cover my makeup on. All right, Olivia's coming up with some of her things.
I only have this that I know of, but so I found this in the back of the closet. I didn't realize how dirty it was this morning, and I was like, Matt, we have a trench coat in the back, and he goes, yeah, that's my grandpa's. So this was Willie Joe's whenever he would preach funerals at a graveside, because he's like slacks are real thin, and so this is what he'd wear to preach the funerals at to help keep him warm at graveside. So it's just a dress trench coat, but I was looking because I was like, is it female? But it has like this stuff on the inside. And who knows, it might be from the 80s, 90s. I don't really know. But yeah, it was Billy Joe's, and I was like, oh, that might be the oldest thing we actually own.
Do you have other things to share too?
I have other things. I don't know.
Bring them and share them.
Okay. So,
Do other people have things besides Olivia to share? Anybody?
so this, I don't know. This is the one that I told her, I was like, there's no way I can model it, because maybe I can just stand over here. Mary won't be able to see me. But this was made for my junior prom, because I was silly, and we were going to have a theme, and so I'm like, oh, everybody's going to dress up. Nobody did except for me. But this was made, and then it had a little,
Wow, it's pretty.
a little headpiece.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way I can fit in it anymore. Maybe one day. And then this little headpiece went with it. And I have Matt's cousin April teaches history and would go to like some different Renaissance fairs. So it's actually been worn. She wore it several times to different events.
Beautiful.
And then it's just hung up in the closet because I don't know what to do with it. Unless anybody goes to a fair. A little headpiece. Like this. And so it just fit like that. Something like that. I don't have a mirror, so I'm thinking.
It's good.
That was.
So did you make it?
It would have been like my dad's cousin had it made. We bought the pattern for it and all the material, and then my mom's like, I didn't realize how much that material was going to cost because it was a few $100s or better back then. Because these are easier. So at Rendezvous, these were called tea dresses, and this is what like I would wear as a kid. They aren't fun to run in because they aren't very big at the bottom. But they look like a T, and that's how you make them. Is they're just two T's sewn together. I always thought the blue one was real pretty because of the ribbons.
Yeah.
But these were more, so the one I put on, like the 3 pieces and stuff, would be more for like the adults, or the more come time the kids would get thrown into more simpler clothes.
So you did those Renaissance fairs with your parents?
I did not. Rendezvous, yeah. The Renaissance one was just for a prom.
Okay, rendezvous. So
But
your
yeah.
parents did those?
Yes.
When you were growing up? Okay.
There was one over just on the Illinois side of St. John called Fort Deschart, and we would spend 10 days out of the summer there and living out of the tent and all the pre-1840s. And now my kids are like, I want to go, and I'm like, I don't want to sleep on the ground. And so this would have been the man's outfit. This was Matt's when we went. It was probably actually one of my dad's, but they just had light shirts. Again, they were all long sleeve. So again, this would have been dad's, because my dad's, because it's really big. but it's summertime, and so most people would wear the lighter clothes and stuff. And back then, the Indians, so it was like the fur trades, and you would have the Native Americans come, and they would trade a lot of their leather stuff to get the cotton clothes and stuff, because it was cooler. But there's that, and then the sash that we had, and then the pants. I was trying to figure the pants out this morning, because I was like, they're very odd. So the back would have like where you can tighten it or get it bigger, and that was another thing with the other. I'm like, you could buy one pair of pants and then it doesn't matter what size, they're very adjustable. But then the fronts, so you don't have zippers, so you'd button this, but then it also has a fly that would come down, I guess, to go to the bathroom easier. So you have a flap in the front that would come down. So that was the pants from then. And they did not have pockets. Well, no, they do. Okay, so yeah, they have a pocket with a button too. That you just don't want to confuse it with the fly. And I think that's all the clothes I got.
Anything else? There might be a few things we didn't go over, so if you want to look around and see, I think this, did you tell me this was from the 50s, Susie?
Yes.
Handmade by, and it's Cleta LeGrand's 1950s. So anyway, there's things to look at. There's some things on the table, and I was gonna, what time are we at?
After 11.
Okay. Tanya, can you come up? Sarah, come up. Olivia, come up. Cindy, come up. Yeah, you'll need your phone, because you gotta look up something. Okay, inside our fashion bags are some little treats. And I want you to look up information on the history of that, okay? Okay, you can look up the history of this. Okay. And you look up the history of that one, and maybe these two for you.